Is this okay with you?
Akshat sir, I think we may have to make do with this mode.
No problem. No problem.
It's working now.
Okay.
It's working.
No, it's not working at full screen.
No, I just checked. It's working.
I don't think.
See? On my screen, it's showing.
I think let's start, Akshat sir. Charu
Yeah,
ma'am?
I'm absolutely fine.
Okay.
Distinguished guests, Mr. Akshat Mohindra, Global Sales Leader, Cisco, Professor Satyabhushan Dash, IIM Lucknow, delegates, faculty colleagues, and my dear students. I, Dr. Charu Sajoria, wish you all a very good morning and welcome you all to day 2 of Third International Conference on Advances in Management and Technology, ICAMT 2023, themed Building Resilient Businesses for Sustainability in the Era of Disruption. Recent times have been characterized by upheavals in technology, disruptions in societal milieu, changes in business and landscape, reorganization of the geopolitical order. These changes have
Charu ma'am, you are muted. Charu ma'am, you are muted. You got muted in between.
Recent times have been characterized by upheavals in technology, disruptions in societal milieu, changes in business landscape, reorganization of geopolitical order. These changes have created enormous pressure on
Again, you are muted, Charu ma'am. There's some problem, I think. You're on mute right now.
I think so. There's some technical glitch. We'll just take a minute to fix it and restart.
A very good morning, Satya sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hope you're fine, sir.
Yeah, I'm fine. Actually, what time I should speak?
Sir, 10:45.
Okay.
Thank you for joining, sir.
Yeah, no issue. Chai.
Before we proceed to invite the eminent speakers for today's session, let me reiterate at this forum the learnings from yesterday so as to create a seamless transition to day 2 of our international conference. Our guest of honor, Mr. Mohit Kumar, President Human Resource, Chief Learning, Talent and Culture Officer at Hindalco Industries Limited, Aditya Birla Group talked about the purpose of Hindalco as greener, stronger and smarter in order to develop a sustainable and resilient businesses in the current era of disruptions. Our second guest of honor, Ms. Sagrika Rai, founder Rep and Rev, talked about going back to our roots to have sustainable business and promoting handloom on word map. She highlighted the need that if business has to be resilient, they need to be close to their objective. Keynote speaker Mr. Anindram Lahiri, CEO, Automotive Skill Development Council, Delhi, talked about his career journey from the manufacturing setups in the supply chain area to building a supply of skilled people. He spoke about the movement from fossil fuel-based engine to numerous fuel varieties that are available in today's marketplace, and how our traditional businesses have had to rethink their business models to change their trajectory into future. We also had paper presentation on the track, role of human capital for resilient businesses, rethinking marketing for building resilient and sustainable business, building resilient and sustainable global reimagining modern finance, and resilience in operations management using analytics to deliver insights for developing resilient businesses. Without further ado, it's my pleasure and honor to invite Mr. Akshat Mohindra, Global Sales Leader Cisco. An accomplished professional, Sir's fervor lies in driving growth for their industry and enhancing brand recognition for both themselves and their organization. As a highly decorated sales and business development expert, he has delivered successful solutions across a diverse range of sectors, including IT service provider, GSIs, telecom service providers, education, healthcare, manufacturing, and retail. He possesses exceptional ability and a proven track record in creating and securing new opportunities, employing door opening strategies, and cultivating client relationships to bring about a greater good for the organization. He is proficient in rapidly comprehending new concepts, technologies, and industries, enabling them to elucidate the overall value propositions to clients and receive recognition from key stakeholders, both internal and external. He has led multicultural, multidisciplinary teams globally to achieve winning projects and campaigns, ensuring holistic growth for all the stakeholders. His success is underpinned by three fundamental pillars: respect, recognition, and responsibility. We welcome you, sir, for the session. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And I would first of all like to say that I'm generally privileged and honored to be invited to be a part of this international conference. My special thanks to Dr. Sriram for having reached out to me. And I just hope that I am audible and loud enough for everybody to hear. Dr.
Yes,
Sriram,
you're audible, completely audible.
thank you. I believe I will have around 45 minutes for whatever I have here to speak. But before I delve any further, I think it is very important for me to also give a little bit of background of how I have been associated with JP. So my association obviously goes back to the time when I was trying for my engineering, and I did score pretty well. I did get I would say a top 100 rank to get into JP. But then, of course, at that point of time, the institute was still coming up, and I had better options at that point of time. But life took a full turn with respect to my wife, who's now a professor at the JP Institute of Technology, Sector 128. So for me, my association with JP has been there for almost 12 years now, or maybe even 13 years. But having said that, it's an honor to be present here. And just to give you a brief background about myself, I did my engineering from Delhi. Post that, I went to IIT Kharagpur for my master's and MBA. And I was very clear at one point of time that by hook or by crook, I should get into an IIT because there is a certain brand value that is associated with it. There I was, of course, lucky enough to work with a diverse set of students. And I'm happy to say one of the co-classmates that I had, his wife is a professor at JP Business School as well. So life is genuinely it's a very small world, and I'm generally again being very happy to be present here. When Dr. Sriram reached out to me, he said we're going to talk about resilient businesses, and I can pick up a topic. I thought it's actually a reflection of what the entire world has gone through the last 2 or 3 years, and specifically because of the pandemic. Now, obviously, there have been scenarios, there have been situations that we've all learned from it. But I think at the theme that typically underpins all of that is that mentally we are all a lot more resilient. We've found different ways to be sustainable in nature, and I think we are not bogged down specifically with any disruption that's going to come our way. Teaching didn't stop, healthcare services didn't stop, government didn't stop working, IT companies didn't stop working, students didn't stop studying, and we've seen all of that happening through different prisms in the last 3 years. So without further ado, that's my opening slide. I would like someone to probably just go to the next slide, because that is essentially the crux of why we all do an MBA. It's a little bit of a humorous take that I have on what we do in MBA. And I think that this picture is pretty much evident in terms of what it explains. What the world thinks of us, what my friends think of what I do after my MBA, what I'm doing in my MBA, and what I practically do. I think the single biggest skill set that I learned from my MBA was to use PowerPoint and to use Excel, uh, beyond a certain basic skill set. And I am now probably adept enough to run macros and run various pivots and functions of Excel. So that's pretty much what I've learned from my MBA. But I think it also there's a subtle message in here as well. We typically take decisions in the thought that what others would actually think of us. If I'm doing an MBA again from a branded institute, we do it from a branded institute because we want people to recognize and give us respect because we are from that institute. I think, but in the last 3 years, what we've actually seen from a startup ecosystem or from an ecosystem of how businesses are running, I think what matters is what is between, in your head, and that's essentially what differentiates you from the rest of the world. But after this humorous take, I want somebody to move on to the next slide, because I'm going to talk about the etymology in terms of the 3 keywords that are there in the topic. Resilience, sustainability, and disruptions. What all of these actually mean, and where did it actually come from? Of course, all of these are Latin words, old, go back multiple centuries back. But essentially, I think what's important is for us to understand that resilience is all about coming back to life. I'm reminded of the Pink Floyd song, Coming Back to Life. And that's exactly what resilience is all about. Springing back, returning to the original position, and more often than not, coming back to a strength or a position which is even more powerful than what it was previously. The last 3 years, the last 5 years, I think we've seen so many changes in the way the economy is working, in the way the technology has pervaded across industries, that we now believe that we are mentally so resilient that we can probably face any challenge coming forward. And while we are resilient at it, we've realized the value of sustainability. And I think it's a much an abused word nowadays, and we're all guilty of it as well. But I think the deeper meaning of sustainability is to ensure and to understand, can I live within my resources or not? So now there are different ways of how people start looking at sustainability. Somebody's looking at digital minimalism. Somebody is looking at living minimalistic life altogether in terms of cutting down on resources. But are we working for organizations, or are we as individuals looking at a sustainable manner of operations? Are we looking at sustainable planet, for example? If I look at my own children, for example, they are born and brought up with an ecosystem of not throwing something out of the moving car on the road, not to litter, for example. It's a very small step, but while we were all taught as well, but it was somehow not ingrained when I was 7-8 years old. And I now am so proud of it that my children, without me having to teach them, they believe there is a certain sustainable way of living life, limiting resources. Of course, they will still ask for their toys, and then it would be a fun conversation for me to go and tell them how you should be happy enough with limited number of toys. But that's a separate conversation. That's a typical conversation a parent and child is going to have. But I think the single biggest keyword in the entire line was around disruption. We've had too many disruptions in our life, and I think as Indians, and now we are the most populous country in the world as well, I think that's another disruption happening. We have the largest youth who are available in the market, who are going to go and bring in a lot of changes. We have the largest set of people in terms of speaking skills, in terms of understanding English. We are way ahead of China, for example, in that aspect. So I think these are all scenarios, ecosystems that have actually disrupted the way we work, but have also made us very resilient and understandable of the word that we have to be very sustainable about it. So I thought, because I come from a technology standpoint, I think it's important for me to talk a lot more about technology and how it's impacted all of us. So I'm going to start off with, and thank you for the angel who's moving this slide to the next level. So thank you so much. I really appreciate. It's not really an easy thing to just move on to the next slide while somebody else is speaking. So thank you so much. I'm going to touch base a little bit on the key technology trends, and I come from a different vantage point. And the reason I'm saying this is because technology is there in the entire ecosystem right now, that wherever we are living, wherever we are working, it is there in our entire ecosystem. So Even if we would want to move away from technology, we just cannot move away from it enough from it. And right now we are also again using a technology platform to connect to each other. Despite people coming back to office, it's easier, I think, to have some sessions done virtually. So I'm going to talk about adoption of a cloud experience, for example. Now, typically we understand when we go and work with our customers in the market, we also understand that there are various technology trends. There's various, you would have heard of various organizations talking about cloud, but what essentially is a cloud for us, for a common man? Now, anybody opens up a Gmail account, that's on cloud, practically speaking. And that is how pervasive it is. Anybody who's ordering something, some groceries via the Amazon app, that's happening on the cloud. When somebody is looking at buying the new fashion labels from Myntra.com, that's again leveraging cloud. So when we look at that set of the ecosystem, I think the entire journey of our customers has moved towards cloud. So when I talk about customers, I think the customers are all of us as well. So everything is moved onto the cloud. So there's a huge adoption, huge rate in which adoption of cloud is happening. But now let's look at the other side of the business. What about applications? Now, I don't want you to worry about the buzzwords that I'm going to speak, and every now and then I'm going to drop a little bit of a nugget. But when we look at applications, for example, what essentially are applications are we talking about? Everybody has a Google app on their phone. Everybody has a Facebook app or a Twitter app or an Instagram app. Try testing it out for yourself, for example. Speak. And if you are, and I'll give a hypothetical example. If you don't have pets at home, try speaking with the next person about cat food, and just wait for 15 minutes. And I'm telling you, after 15 minutes, you'll start seeing advertisements of cat food coming on your feed, either on Instagram or Facebook. That is the power of how applications are reading into you, or rather eventually helping you. So that essentially becomes one downside of having an application which understands you much better than anything else. But there is a certain need for our interactions to be with the digital, which requires new and modern applications. And in many cases, these are essentially from a citizen to an employee or to a customer, and with the government or an organization. This essentially is the layer that is the interface. The interface which is defining how we are consuming, how we're interacting, and how we're operating. And all of this is now, this layer has been disrupted. Imagine a situation probably 15 years back, the time when I was studying at IIT Kharagpur, for example. There was technology, and I was studying at one of the most premier institutes in the world. But I didn't have the plethora of applications that we have now. There was nothing like UPI that existed at that point of time. So if somebody had to still transfer, my parents had to transfer into a bank account, and I would have had to go to the local bank account in my campus to withdraw the money. Of course, ATMs were there. But I'll give you the reverse example of ATMs. ATMs, there was a time when every bank had huge number of ATMs, and there was an ATM war. And now you don't see ATMs as prevalent as earlier. Because you have technology at the power of your hand. You have something in your phone. You have something like a Paytm Go, link your bank account, transfer the money. And at the end of the presentation, I will have my UPI ID as well, so you can all try transferring some money to me. So I am certainly not shying away from that. But that's an example. That's a real life example that I can take. And now brings me to the next technology trend, shifting to hybrid work. Right now, this is a classic example of where we're talking about technology and we're leveraging technology to talk a lot more about it. But did we even realize how easy it would have been had this hybrid work been there earlier? And I'll give you a classic example. I started working with a lot of my customers. I used to work dedicatedly with education and healthcare sectors. And I used to continuously go and speak to education institutes and tell them, and I'm talking 2017. 2018, 2016, I'm telling them the need to become a digital organization, that you should have video conferencing solutions. You should have a setup like a Google Meet. I can't promote Google, by the way, because we have a competing product called WebEx, so I will have to talk about WebEx. But we had something like WebEx, which is exactly the same. But cut to March 2020, and everybody moved towards hybrid work. Everybody started using these set of applications in terms of getting the desired work done. So if I look at it from that perspective, I think hybrid work has had a huge impact on all of us. Now let's look at cloud security. While we have technology, no, stay on that. Thank you. Yeah, the reason I'm talking security is moving to the cloud because all of us are using applications, all of us are using phones, all of us are constantly on the internet. There is also need to be very much secure about it. Haven't we heard of enough scams? The OTP scams, link which will probably look the same but will have a couple of letters here or there, and you are fraudulently, let's say, duped of a lot of money that you had in your account. Those are all classic examples of how, while we leverage a lot of technology, but we're also making ourselves a slave to it, and hence we need security on top of it. And come to think of it, very closely linked to it is the transition to 5G and Wi-Fi 6. Now, I don't want you to worry about the Wi-Fi 6 part. Let's just look at it. It's the latest next generation wireless experience. But 5G is something everybody understands. I was lucky enough to be a part of the day when our Prime Minister launched 5G services in Delhi. And I could see it there and then. The palpable excitement about how 5G starts becoming a very prevalent thing for us. Now we're looking at providing healthcare services built on 5G. Let's look at an example of a remote. Let's look at an example of a remote place where there is no way for us to go and provide healthcare facilities, but we need a 5G a technology which will enable us to have a conversation between a doctor and a potential patient. So those are some of the genuine trends that we're looking at. And the last one, which could be slightly more technical, but I am going to attempt and try to demystify it for you. We're looking at an absolutely distributed and a hybrid world where applications and workloads are moving closer to users. Now I'll try to give you an example. So there is something known as microservices that we have. Now, what is a microservice? Let's say you open Amazon, you order groceries for yourself. Every time you're moving one click more, those are microservices. And we have the technology now to track the ability of those microservices, whether they're performing optimally or not. So it is possible when you opened Amazon that page is working fine. When you started selecting groceries, that page is working fine. When you started adding, you started seeing a problem. So instead of, let's say, 4 kgs of something, you added 2 kgs, and after that the click just wouldn't move to 3 or 4. Now those are some of the things that we have the technology built in, which is now trying to manage and measure and monitor that, and eventually provide a solution also. The reason I spoke about all these technology trends is that all of these are something that started coming in after something happened in our ecosystem where a non-technical issue disrupted our entire ecosystem, disrupted our entire life. Now, this is just the way how a technology can leverage and try to overcome it. Now, if somebody can move to the next slide, because that's in where the proof of the pudding is. If somebody can move to the next slide, my angel whosoever, yeah, thank you so much. So we're looking at what are the priorities that are most important for us. What are we working? What problem are we trying to solve for our customers? When I say that problems that we're trying to solve, we're trying to solve the problems for everyone. So first of all, when we go and meet someone, we're telling them, and when I say someone, we're talking about the CXs or the head of the businesses. We have to start talking to them. How are they reimagining the design and the development of their internal applications? Those applications. So when I go and, let's say, speak to somebody in Myntra, for example, I would go and speak with them with my technology solutions. If you could make those 2 or 3 changes in your ecosystem, in your application landscape, you can probably give much better retention rate to your end customers. Now, that's a problem that I'm solving for them. Every customer who's running an app-based ecosystem wants the user to spend maximum time on the platform, right? I'll give you a classic example of Facebook, because that's something that everybody will probably relate to it immediately. You go on Facebook, you open up your homepage. At the back end, Facebook has recognized that you are in your, let's say, in your institute. There are 3 of your friends who are friends with you on Facebook who are also in the institute. The immediate feed that you will start seeing would be of those friends. Now, if you've had a chance to have spoken with your friends about food, the next slide, if you scroll down, the next thing would be something about food. And when you further scroll down, you'll see the next friend, his or her picture, coming onto your screen. Those are some of the ways how the applications have been redefined altogether, so that you as a user are spending more time on it. And this is just a way of how, disruption, how we've engaged in order to, work with ecosystem partners to help you live with it. Second, I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it is that the work is not a place where you actually go. It is now something where you can do whatever you're doing from anywhere, wherever you are. Of course, there will be certain restrictions, there will be certain guidelines that you have to adhere to. But I could very well be working from my home and delivering a lecture just like I'm doing right now. But this empowerment to the teams to have done that, I think that is the most critical aspect. I think that has also given us a reason to understand, first of all, do we really need such big classrooms and such big institutes? Maybe yes, maybe no, we don't have the clear answer to that. But are we delivering the same lecture that we could have delivered to them in the classroom over a hybrid, over a hybrid manner? I think the answer to that is potentially to a huge extent, yes. But is it sustainable? Now, therein comes the perfect mixture of having a hybrid work culture. A culture where you actually collaborate, where you meet, and when you're meeting, you're collaborating, trying to come up with different ideas, not just having a one-way lecture. Because there are teams, there are going to be scenarios where you need the entire team to be working together. So that's exactly what we're looking at when we've looked at empowering our own teams. The third, I think I should have probably started off with this. But the company that built the internet, I represent that organization. I work for Cisco. Cisco is the organization that has built the internet and has been running it for umpteen number of years. Cisco is an organization founded in Stanford. So I think certainly from that standpoint, we're looking at entire infrastructure of the connected world becoming transformed. There are 20 billion devices now connected to the internet. Who would have thought about that even 5 years back, 6 years, 10 years back? And this number is only going to touch 50 billion devices by the time we probably hit 2030 or 2035. So the plethora of traffic on the network, the plethora of devices talking to each other, this is just the beginning. And this is where also you would have heard of a terminology, Internet of Things, where devices will start talking to each other, not humans, not users. Devices are automatically talking to each other. We're already delivering it on IoT, by the way. So if you look at a smart city, for example, there is practically no manual intervention towards, let's say, when the garbage dump gets filled up, how the notification is given to the truck to go and empty that garbage bin and replace it back, and how it has happening on a timely basis. Then you run analytics on top of it and start understanding how often do you need to run this cycle. So those are some of the actionable inputs that you'll have, and this can only happen when the entire ecosystem of the network gets transformed, and it is in the process of getting transformed. And again, as I lastly said it again as well, there is a certain sense around security. I think the pace at which we've grown in India, we might have disregarded the impact of having an ecosystem which is not as secure. But I think now we have started coming to terms and I'm trying to understand how secure enterprises are the need of the hour. And when I talk about secure, we're talking about securing your critical and important information related to your people, your customers, something which is very complex. In fact, post the pandemic, we did a survey. 60% of the decision makers that we worked with have said that there will be an increase on cybersecurity investments because they foresee an increase in cybersecurity incidents. Now, that is a very telling point for us, which means that as the number of devices that are going to be connected onto the internet increase, so does the potential risk. And I'm not going to get into a debate if somebody says the Android platform is safer or the Apple platform is safer. I think both platforms will have their pros and cons. And there would be somebody who's going to talk about the open source as well. But with every platform comes a lot of potential risks as well. And this is where exactly where we as ecosystem partners, we come into the play. We are working with our customers, we're working with the ecosystems to understand and try to secure them, because while they grow, they need to grow securely. They need to grow at a pace. And I'm not going to say this, but there is a locality in Delhi which will have probably all of our Aadhaar cards linked in a huge PDF file available for 100 rupees. So data leakage, data prevention, data policy, data privacy is of paramount importance. And while you can never try to secure all of it, because we'll have to understand that all of it is also very is also very critical for us. But we'll try our level best to be, to secure it. And I think these priorities have only started becoming prioritized more so post the pandemic. I think, and I don't want to say this, but we have a common joke running that that none of the consulting firms could predict that a pandemic is coming, right? And the digital disruption of all organizations have happened because of the pandemic, not because they hired a consulting firm to do the consulting exercise. Because while we did it, while we had the information, we necessarily don't have to act on it till the time something happens, right? That's the way we operate, right? I think this is something that the pandemic has taught us, not to take anything lightly. And somebody can move to the next slide. Thank you. Now, while I've spoken a lot about our trends, spoken a lot about our priorities, where is it that I'm coming from? I'm coming from a scenario where we're talking about what are the pillars of trying to swim in this ecosystem which is resilient, which is also sustainable, and has the ability to undergo any kind of disruption, or at least be open to disruptions. Now, you cannot have closed ecosystems, closed networks, where if a disruption happens, you have to be very open about it. You have to be secure and you have to be agile about it. These are the areas we're going to build: secure, agile networks. We're going to build networks that are inherently secure, that are also going to be inherently, very very dynamic on their feet, so that if push comes to shove, we're able to pivot around. We're also going to focus on building optimized applications, optimized experiences for our customers, for the entire ecosystem, because we believe the entire conversation between the user, between the government, between the technology company is all about application experience. You will spend more time, let's say, on a Netflix or a Prime, because the platform is good, but secondly, because of the content that they provide. If the content is not good, you may not be using that OTT platform. How many times has it happened, for example, when you log on to Netflix, you've not seen anything, but you've still browsed that entire Netflix for 10 minutes and you've exited it? All that Netflix is trying to do is trying to ensure that you stick onto their platform for more number of minutes every day than what the other OTTs are doing. And all of these OTTs have one common enemy, by the way. It is sleep. It is not you. They don't want, when you are retiring on your bed, when you're looking at the phone, at the screen, and unless you're a digital minimalist, you will be not looking at the screen at night. I have a tendency to look at screen every day, and I will spend 5-10 minutes, but I believe I spend 10 minutes. And there have been times when I've spent 1 hour as well, just browsing through maybe an Instagram, maybe a Facebook, maybe going through Reddit, for example, just to read up on more stuff. So there are avenues of how these application experiences are getting enhanced. But yeah, we have a job to do. So we'll still focused, we will be focused on that. The future of work is something that we are going to define and deliver. We're going to make it hybrid. We could make it specific virtual, but we're going to ensure that the experience of working is always good. And we're going to build for the internet of the future. All the 3 things that I said earlier, they're all related to us, specifically connected to each other via the internet. We're going to build security capabilities that are going to take advantage of the end-to-end capabilities that only we have, and deliver a real end-to-end security architecture for everyone, for the entire ecosystem. And eventually, we're also going to build capabilities at the edge. When I say at the edge, just to bring it out from a layman language, bring it to you, bring it closer to the user. Build capability so that the user has the maximum ability to make changes on the fly the way they would want to. And this is my last slide. The next slide is my last slide, which is the innovation promise that we talk about. All of this work and all of the innovation we build will be done through the lens of how our innovation promise is to what our prime consumers and customers are going to have. First and foremost, everything that we do must be done through the lens of having delivered hands down the best customer end user experience. If I don't do that, we are probably not doing our job enough. In an increasingly complex world, we are going to ensure that the world is going to be inclusive, and the scale and the speed at which we work, at which we grow, is something that we will always focus on, because simplicity and cloud first is going to be our approach. We've talked about the need for a choice. We are going to work with our customers. We're going to work with our users to give them the ability to decide how they want to pay. When we look at visibility, monitoring, application understanding, and automation, we are going to focus a lot on that, because these are some of the tenets of how to survive in an ecosystem which is open to disruption. We're going to ensure, as I've said umpteen number of times, build a lot of security in. We're going to ensure that it is interoperable and full of quality. And before I forget, I think lastly, all our solutions, everything that we're doing has to be open for everyone. The solution cannot be a closed door a solution. It cannot be closed to a certain set of superset users. It has to be something that solves problems for people in villages. It solves problems for people living in cities. It solves problem for people living across countries. Because as I said earlier, we are the company that built the internet, and we will strive to ensure that that internet continues to be safe and sound for all our end users. Thank you so much. I have purposely tried to keep it in time because I know we started a little late, but you have an international conference to conclude and to kickstart. So I thought I'll keep it here. But I'm open to any questions if somebody has. If somebody wants to connect with me, my next slide is there. You can connect with me via email, LinkedIn, even Twitter. I'm a verified profile on Twitter. I pay $11 a month. So you can come and follow me. But thank you so much, Dr. Sriram. I have to say that again. Thank you so much for giving me the honor and the privilege to come and address the people here. I can see there are almost 100 people online. So thank you so much for this chance.
No, the pleasure is all ours. It was really wonderful listening to you, especially your talks about the technology trends and how things became more signified, especially after the pandemic. We all know what happened in our educational institutions, although we were hesitant to change, but we were, sort of bought into it, kicking and screaming, so to say. Yeah. We didn't have a choice with the pandemic on.
And you talked about WebEx, Akshay. That was the first platform on which I took a webinar.
It is,
because initially that was
the best platform. It is the best platform.
Before Zoom, that was something that got very popular, and then Zoom took up somehow for the webinars.
I will not talk about my competition on this.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I want to say that was the first platform to be used.
I've spent almost 8 years. I'm Cisco through and through. So I'm not going to talk about competition, but I can assure you, I think any platform that you use should serve the end purpose.
Yeah.
Akshat, it was really interesting and knowledge enhancing session for all of us as management teachers. But definitely, yes, I do remember my days as a student, although we still continue to remain as student. Cisco was the first company in the world that came up with the router internet connecting technology.
Yes.
So Cisco had been pioneer in that, and it will continue to remain pioneer. Last but not the least, but what is important with respect to the integration of technology, people had been fighting about privacy. I don't know, where is the privacy? If you scroll a page on Facebook, next time you open it, you get the same set of videos.
Yes.
Scrolling.
I hear what you say.
I don't know people in the legal fraternity what they will be fighting. Maybe in US also regarding the privacy. But yes, in this era of disruption, people have become so used to these technologies that they cannot maybe wake up without the technology. This is very, very interesting. We also talked about in way back in 2015, we had the first session of this ICAMT conference. And we had the US professor from Nebraska. He said, no, Dr. Mishra, how can you predict the traffic here? Because Google has been working very fast in India. And it showed that from here to JP Greens, there will be traffic jam maybe 2 kilometers ahead. And he was really astonished to see the traffic jam, red line. But today, he appreciates that how Google has been strongly working in India to get the database clear. So this is where we are looking at maybe the evolution of technology. Maybe the way I interact, maybe next time I will start getting feedback how to speak on Google Meet. That can also be the next maybe in agenda to improve my communication skills for a period of time. So this is where we have to live in because technology is not going to leave us. We have to eat, sleep, and wake up with technology. And yes, this has given a new way for organizations to function. And educational institutions, those who are really fearing that, oh, how do we move on to use online technology? But yes, thanks to COVID, we all are using comfortably Google Meet, Zoom to conduct our classes. That's the tremendous power that technology has given. It was really nice, Akshayji, for speaking on this topic, and that too, the theme that we had. It was really pleasure listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you so much. I wish you and the entire team the very best for having a very successful international conference, and I hope to be part of it sometime in the future as well. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Akshat.
Any questions anybody would like to ask? Okay, so let's begin the second part. Dr. Charu. Professor Dash is online.
Now I would like to call upon our esteemed speaker, Professor Satyabhushan Das, Professor in Marketing at IIM Lucknow. At IIM Lucknow, he has been leading in numerous key roles such as Dr. Ishwar Dayal, Chair Professor for Futuristic Issues in the Behavioral Sciences, and Founder Chairman, Center for Marketing in Emerging Economies. He has a PhD from VGSOM IIT Kharagpur. In 2001, he was awarded with the prestigious Shastri Indo-Canadian Doctoral Research Fellowship for pursuing doctoral research in management at the University of Manitoba, Canada. Professor Dash was awarded by the Indian Commerce Association with the prestigious Professor Manubhai M. Shah Memorial Award in 2018 for excellence in commerce and business management. His current areas of research have been on the topics of online marketing, B2B marketing, product and brand management, tourism marketing, healthcare marketing, e-governance, and digital citizen services. His recent study on consumer behavior on COVID-19 lockdown has received a lot of coverage from national and international media. We welcome you, sir, for the session.
So it's just written that
He
he
has
to join. Yeah.
message that will take a minute.
Yeah.
So let's wait.
Yeah, hello.
Somehow he has logged out. Okay.
Yeah, actually there is some problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah,
Professor Dash, good morning.
good morning, good morning. You are here now.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Ma, this side.
So should I start?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello, so good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay,
So can you
so
put it on the slide share mode?
yeah, just 1 minute. Now is it fine?
So
Actually
slide
आजकल
share.
थोड़ा कुछ प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है मेरा लैपटॉप में.
Okay, sir.
But is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, so ये slide में because I have again technological issues, added this laptop with the desktop. Anyway,
No
so
issue.
thanks for this opportunity and thanks Professor Garima to invite me. And I have seen this title very interesting. Let me start with some basic issues that what we are talking about the crisis. Crisis basically damage institutions and communities, but the process of rebuilding can create a strong foundation for future growth. All of us know. The financial crisis in 2000, for example, um, led to take actions by banks and regulatory bodies so that the system becomes stronger and it has become more robust. Nowadays, banks are not giving a loan like this that because of this crisis. Likewise, changes introduced during COVID-19 pandemics can provide new impetus for accelerated growth. For example, the shift towards digitalization is a very critical thing. I will show you, we have done a study also. New hybrid working models, like previous speaker, Mr. Mahendra was speaking about all these things. Rethinking the supply chain and the acceleration of public institutions towards climate change. All these things are some kind of structural shift that has been taken place. The system, to make the system robust, this structural shifts has been taken place. Resilience is thus more than proactive measures. It is the ability to reinvent and innovate in response to disruption. Inadequate responses can magnify the damage, and for example, what may be the digital vigilance during the time of COVID. Those people have low vigilance. We have seen there is a low resilience of non-digital sectors during pandemics. Also, at the same time, several people they lost their business potential due to lack of advanced technologies. These are two important things we have seen. Resilience emphasizes long-term ability of our organizations and economics to create capabilities needed to deal with disruption, with withstand shocks, and consistently adapt to disruptions and crises arising over the time. So what I've told, there is a disruption that has been taken place. There is a crisis. More digitalization has taken place. We have done a study in during the time of COVID in April, first round, 108 cities. This was the thing. Frankly speaking, how worried are you? We have seen 70% people are worried. And what we have got at the same time, these are the some stresses economic impact stress, system-generated stress, risk of infection and resulting difficulties, uncertainty and information asymmetry, because the people do not get the clear information. There is asymmetry of information, and fear of contamination. That is a very important thing. So because of that, people do two kind of coping, consumption coping. One approach consumption coping, avoidance consumption coping. Approach may what they do like reduce touch points, immune boosting measures, preventing coping, adoption technology. It's a very critical thing. People have told more using online purchase options and all these things. And avoidance may emotion regulation, consumption, distraction, and impulsive buying. And also at the same time, when we have identified this thing, we have also given empirical evidence how we have developed a model also that all these things, because of COVID pandemic stress, there will be approach consumption coping and avoidance consumption coping. And if this confirms the change, what of the stress that will relieve because of this thing, then that will be continued. That means what I am what I was telling earlier also, because of COVID, there is a stress, people do consumption coping, and that will become a one that is a confirmation, people will continue. It is not that it is a short-term approach, that is a long-term approach. Okay. So now when we are talking about digitalization, because I have been requested to speak about digitalization, and during the time of COVID, we have done the study that what is how digitalization actually impact learning, livelihood and healthcare and other citizenship services. So during the time of COVID, we have we seen that digital technology have spread rapidly in most of the world. Businesses, they have adopted digital technology by people. This is increasing, and COVID time mein jada that has happened. Hello. So there's a lot of structures and everything. I skip the slides, but what I want to tell, we have done a 2017 digital action plan also. What are the long-term and short-term strategies that can be taken place because of this year? So what we have done? What are the challenges of digitalization? Like we have told that agriculture may building a repository, information, developing village entrepreneurs, sustainability of agriculture, reforms in microfinance, digital system, setting up kiosks for training farmers, reuse of wasted crops, financial inclusion account tracking of the farmers, reduce the wastage of water, rainwater harvesting, roof, backward organic farming. All these things are very important action areas. And who can do that thing? By Startup India program, incubators, colleges and universities, banks, who have given in different sectors and which are on priority long-term sector. Similarly, we have given citizen service delivery, may simplifying user experience, all the citizen service platform, use digital media to enhance digital literacy. See, way back in 2017, we have made a brainstorming session in a conference and that these things should happen. Technology communities, education institutions with technology companies, tie-up, regional institutions along with state and state government, free and open source software and hardware community, all these things. Similarly, healthcare may we have told that point of care solutions, hotline numbers, bringing the doctors to the patients using IT innovation, decentralized services for the lesser training diseases. So who will be doing that thing? Again, Sam. So also we have sent this thing to different quarters, how this can be done. After that, when I was ISODAL chair professor, I have done a study that how this digitalization impacts. I'll show you the interesting insights, what I have got from the study. All of you are aware of these e-learning apps. Most of you are exposed to this, and the like Vedantu, Baiju, and all these things. So I have taken scrapped the user-generated review of these websites, and I have done a study that how many people are basically happy. There's some qualitative study. I am not skipping this qualitative. First, I have done a qualitative study on this EPF. How digitalization, everyday digital platform ko लोग कैसे यूज कर रहे हैं, what are the frequent activities respondents do on digital platform on daily basis. So what I have got very interesting, that most of the people are talking about entertainment, you see, and then social benefit, then utility. What does mean entertainment is enjoyment. They see Facebook and other things, but and some people also social benefit. COVID time में ज़्यादा लोग social benefit because they can connect to with others, and utility. Utility मतलब, so actually there is some desired benefit. For example, for a farmer in a village, he can use this digital platform, broadband, for assessing the weather information and the market price of the harvest, a lot of things during the time of COVID. He means agriculture input information, but he is not doing that thing. Either he digital literacy doesn't know, or they are very easy access to this entertainment with less price. So entertainment tops in terms of daily digital uses as per respondents. Social benefits such as connecting with the people ranks second, and utility in terms of online service and information gathering ranks third. So whatever the expectations, digitalization, that more utility and benefit our citizens will get, but they are not using. And people have told, I often ask food from Swiggy and other, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, access also travel, pay, phone recharge, all these things. YouTube, Ghana, Dekhna hai, DJ wala, Hindi Ghana, all these things they are talking about. But no, very few people are talking about that they use for practical purposes. Watch new regularly, keep myself updated, what is happening in different knowledge system. Shopping also, okay, I can get better price, all these things. So basically, why I use it, daily digital activity, you to different platforms, how people use, and we have classified, as I have shown you, entertainment, utility, social benefits, and others. Now I'm coming to EPF. EPF is a very important step taken by Government of India, that earlier people are going to EPF office, there are a lot of time wastage. And basically, PF people keep for saving social security and pension, but several times going to this EPF office, and if there is some problem, they will complain. So digital is a better solution. So we intended. But what happened? Finally, a digital app, when people are using PF account, because those who are gray color employees, they have told, these are facilitators of this app, that time saving, availability, user friendly, convenient, and easy. These are the facilitators. And always the policymakers and researchers focus on these facilitators. How digitalization make people more comfortable. But these are the barriers. Information. Oh, Hindi mein bol raha hai. Earlier we could get PF related information, but those who have traditional small phones, they have to go to shop. We used to check on our phone, but nothing is shown nowadays. Second, we do not use net frequently. We go to the computer center to access PF related information, but we are not able to see our monthly PF. These are the gray color employees. Though for whom this service was intended, they have a lot of problems. Second, they are taking my money, can I transfer my PF money to one account through the app? This is not possible, which is a very critical benefit. So barriers, navigation is a barrier. Works sometimes, doesn't work sometimes. Though app does not work sometimes, even after adding UN. Awareness and access, the overall information of PF, whether money is saved, is unknown. Even after 3 months. Lack of information. We used to receive messages earlier. Nowadays, we are not getting messages. Security. How much the platform Umang is safe to keep and disclose all the documents. These are privacy and security issues. Performance. When I change the company, there is an UN number. You you have to map in the existing number. So for every new company, you get a different PF number. I want to map both PF account to one UN account, I could not do. So the practical issues, what are the ground realities, these are not addressed. So similarly, motivation, I don't feel I need to use app. So then what happens? There was a problem. People use digitalization. We are talking about there is some disaster and everything. So people adopt digitalization, but they're frustrated. There is no trust. You do not have much trust on mobile apps. As you many apps on your phone, you never know what may happen. I do not feel the need to check PF account once in a year enough to me. So let us forget about this year. So basically functionality issues, complexity, slow response. So these are some issues in EPF. Now I'm going to e-learning apps. You can see this thing. Can you see this thing? Is it visible? Or I should...
So it's visible, sir.
Yeah.
It's visible.
So if you look at this user-generated review, several people underestimate that thing. They tell that the user-generated review are useless. And most of the companies, when I have done this study, I have shown this several sent to policymakers. They have told those who are basically not our regular consumers, or they are very much dissatisfied, they complain. And those who are satisfied, they never give review. But what we have done both. We have taken the sentiment polarity and we have done a regression analysis with the review. And what we have got this rating, whatever the rating people give. We have seen that sentiment polarity and the rating, this regression R square is very highly significant. So that means those who are giving this review, they are giving consciously, and this is very much in line with the rating is in line with the review. It is not that somebody is giving 5 rating and telling bad. So, and interesting thing is that among all these apps, you see here, Baiju is 79% people are satisfied, 4-5 rating. Whereas ePathshala is a government app, only 55% people are satisfied. And what is the major problem in ePathshala? Why people are not happy? Not working. So we have mapped what are the things people are not working. That is, download is not working. If a digital app cannot make an efficient download, so then what is the meaning of that particular app? Similarly, private learning apps, learning is effective, video is enjoyable, and the lockdown period it is useful, clear doubt, learn new things. So this make a proper meaning, what makes the positive of this thing and what makes that negative. And then we have done different topics. We have identified a lot of topics, what people are telling. So 15% people are telling app quality in terms of ease of use, helpful, enjoyable, and issues in poor video quality they are talking about. And there are several people are talking about useful in clearing concepts. So very positive sides. These are private learning apps. And but so perceived people are talking about benefits. Also, there are some regions for low rating and negative sentiments are full of bugs and it keeps on crashing. Subscription charges of the app is too high. Lots of notification and irrelevant advertisements. So these are something, and positive things are good front and reading experiences, all resources, provides fundamental knowledge of math and science, all these things. But Pathshala, what I telling people, low rating is that glitches in the app in terms of downloading content, downloaded ebook not in offline section, not working in Android phones. So these are, and another thing you will be surprised to know, around 82% people who are giving low rating, they are telling that download problem something, collection, update, solve. So these are some technical issues. Because of that, they are not happy. Similarly, we have done healthcare apps. It's an M Health app. Government this time also advised several people to digital. So we have done India ka top 5 जो कि ज़्यादा Google Play Store downloaded healthcare apps, Apollo Max, all these things. We have also tested the user-generated reviews are authentic or not. Then you'll be surprised to know this marks 87% people are not happy in the online app. Although sample size was very less because very few people have given a user-generated review. And 77% people are not happy. Whereas Kokila Ben Dhirubhai Hospital, Mumbai, only 30% people are not happy. And why people are not happy? Very interesting insights. User sentiment is bad because medicine order not delivered and refund as well. Medicine is when you are ordering any medicine, what is the waiting time? Generally digital may, it will be maximum half an hour or 1 hour. But we have seen the user generated review, 15 days medicine is ordered, no delivery is coming, no refund is coming. Post pathetic, why people are telling poor service support team. So somehow, somewhere, this support team is a very critical thing. That adds to the emotional angle in the technological virtual world. So, but that is missing. That particularly human element is missing. That do not give the assurance and empathy. Stuck, customer care service, very poor, unhappy. So, if you do a digital system and keep everything in machine, it will not work. That tells. But at the same time, positive sentiment can get information anywhere, anytime, nicely designed, user-friendly, easy. There are some positive, there are some negative. Those who are telling positive will go more depth. You may be thinking that they know how to use. And those people are telling negative, most of the people, they do not know what to use, where to use, and how to use. These are the issue of lack of digital literacy. So these are some topics and everything we have got. Next comes Arogya Setu. You know Arogya Setu, we have published a paper, Behavior and Information Technology, 2 months back. Arogya Setu app is the most critical thing. This is the lifeline of COVID. What is the status? 53% people are not happy. Sorry, 51%. And what is the negative sentiment? Error, reinstalled but showing error. Alert, not getting vicinity alert. And that means within 500 meters, if somebody is a COVID patient, the vicinity alert is not given. Bug, checkbox for selecting the countries is a bug. Risk, unable to assess your risk and then asked to registration again. Data is not safe. Data leakage is possible from the app. That means your privacy and other things are not assured. What is positive? Displaying positive patients. Information, give all type of information, all case numbers and everything. Important, highly important application in healthcare system. Great application. So people are appreciating this app because it's a very important app for protecting from the COVID. At the same time, these are the negative sentiments. But how we are really, as I have told you, any system when you are developing, that should be robust. And also, low resilience of non-digital sectors during pandemics. So basically, those who are not so much prompt on advanced technology and everything, they also lost potential. Similarly, this is Arogya Setu app. What we have got, sense of faithfulness of this app and expected benefit. 70% people who are not happy, they are telling that sense of faithfulness towards the app and expected benefits regarding the app content quality. So basically, so many people are telling that app does not have banker as a profession in profession list, where banker is one of the essential service listed by Government of India. Privacy issues there, huge app drains battery issues are there, shows different figures of cases and apps around us, different figures and cases. Requires improvement like could slow maps in the area, shops and markets, because there is a broadband issues. So similarly, another livelihood apps, user generated review, we have taken also this Inam, Kisan Subhida, eShakti, eSkill, that also we have done a study. But the sample size were very less. Still we have seen around 50% of the people in Kisan Subhida not happy. 50% it is not a small number. So that means, just a minute. So that means those are farmers, for adoption they take they definitely a lot of time, but when they are frustrating, 50% people are frustrating experience. We are talking about marketing, word of mouth, and all these things that will demotivate other people to use this app. And what is bad about these apps? Negative sentiments, not working on my new phone and upload option. App is slow, there is no scope for suggestion. Bad app, despite of internet connection, it shows internet is not connected. Useless. Wastage of money and completely useless app. So, what is excellent about this application is great and best because it shows market rates and arrived quantity in one window. Excellent app to see the live prices. Useful for purchaser and seller. So all these things people are talking about this thing. And different apps. Umang app is the most important innovation what government is telling, and because in one this is aggregator, in one platform you will get a lot of citizen-centric services. 51% people are positive, 41% are negative, and 8% were neutral. And 56% people are telling low rating. Correct. So now worst. Why people are telling worst? Unable to withdraw PF. As I have to, EPFO consumers are more in Umang app. Slow. App is slow and not updated. Pathetic. Complaints filed, but the grievances were not resolved. So these are very interesting things, and all these glitches in app, review of all services. So many people are discussing this thing, and this is on the online platform also. DigiLocker is a very important utility app of government. You can store your all the essential things and everything in this app. DigiLocker, 80% people are not happy. You know, there is a utility app, 80% people are not happy. Why? App is poorly designed, unable to get all information and its data is digitized. Users are unable to take fast step of signing up. Device not compatible. Horrible experience that the username and password is incorrect. So, positive may good application, stores important document, saves the work to carry physical copies, stores valuable documents, comes handy in lot of situations. The policy, and when the app was made, it is a noble objective, and it is not the fault of government. They have a very good policy, but implementation there are issues, and these are also 18 topics people are mostly discussed. Suggestion for app improvisation, issues in login and resetting, app quality, and all these things. Whatever creating, editing, or deleting the unused account, all these things are basic things. When we are digitized age, when we are at the digital age, and a lot of services we are having. If you look at Pizza Hut, we are ordering pizza, 20 minutes where pizza is delivered, and you can track. So at the same time, if I am using a DigiLocker app and I'm giving some complaint, that is not addressed for 3 days. So how can I tell that this is a good digital app? And how can that deal with the description, the crisis? Okay. So similarly, digital banking apps. Banking apps, 54% people are not happy. And 81% people in the HDFC Bank are not happy. 81%. Why? And in general, I am telling, individual also I have done analysis. The problem, technical problem, issues, not working, service issues while payment, post, money deducted but transaction not complete, slow working app. All of you are facing this kind of problems, and this is just some. Similarly, IRCTC, our Indian Railway, most important for part of our life. And how many people are not happy? 79%. And remember, all these user-generated reviews are taken during the time of COVID, first round. Negative sentiment, unable to log in. Worst, too many bugs and money gets stuck. Not working, mandatory field is missing. App is slow, doesn't open, irritating, too many ads, which blocks the content. So all of you are encountered. Similarly, if you look at travel booking apps, and very interesting news, travel booking apps, clear trip, 92% people are not happy. Like my trip, 87% people. Jatra, 95%. And refund, cancellation, horrible service, same thing. Bad advisement on payment and accommodation. So these are very basic things. We are talking about Hosberg two-factor theory. These are hygienic factors. These are not satisfiers. So these apps cannot fulfill the basic minimum expectations of the consumers. And then you are talking about oil and gas. When a BPCL chair professor, I was doing oil and gas app. And these apps, 56% people are not happy. And interestingly, I'll show you after this, payment, a failed message after payment app, error, crashes to useless app filled with error, cannot book cylinder and raise complaints, unable to place order. These are very interesting. If a cylinder is booked by a housewife, and what is the expectations? I'm doing online, I can track the cylinder will come. But 3 days तक पता नहीं है cylinder आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है. Whereas I am ordering pizza और Zomato में कुछ order कर रहा हूँ, मुझे 20 minutes में पूरा up to date आ जाता है. But when I have asked this oil and gas, because I am now VPCL chair professor, they have told that he will do that value-added services, that all this tracking and everything, the money part जो है, government will not give, because there is a rule that whatever this online, only placing an online lab, but the value addition के लिए जो आप बोले tracking and other system, the price will increase. But here the price value equation, don't you think that today's ladies or today's working, those who are working women, they will not pay maybe 50 paisa or something more. They do online ordering and getting tracking, and you can give them some kind of combo package. I have told them. So why they will not give some bonus and everything? So these are very important. Digital transformation story, reimagining customer experience. So most critical thing. This is the most last slide, last but one. Lifetime customer relationship is a very critical thing. We are talking customer experience, customer-centric culture, empower partners to serve customers, build employees' passion towards customer experience. So this lifetime customer relationship, if perfect digitalization is taken place, the communication, information exchange will be more faster, and you can create a customer-centric culture. This is a lady whose name is Rithika. And what is the motivation to do digitalization? Because she travels a lot, being able to spend more time, favorite pastime. Frustration is that system does not provide real-time updates on the status of my request of a new cylinder. No option for me to use universal loyalty point to shop to create LOB products. That means you want to do lubricant products, so he wants to get also bonus, because that can be clubbed with a lot of other related products. So what is the motivation why people want to do digitalization? I have shown from the beginning, COVID approach coping web, they have to do digitalization because there is a no touching and everything. People don't want to go outside. At the same time, the system do not provide them a satisfying experience. So what to do? So expectation is that 48 hours round time complaint and concerns, reality, which chala jata hai, no issue is resolved. So expectation is that relationship to be driven by unique experiences. A visit to a Indian oil outlet was a mere transaction of convenience, not experience. So digital platform, those people are doing, those companies and everything, organizations. You see, learning may 67%, 70% people are happy. This private learning app. Whereas in healthcare, which is very crucial, only 30% people are happy. So the experience is not, people are not getting. If they are not getting experience, then this doesn't make any sense. And today's consumer uses new online channels, tends to buy more online, wants to offer feedback about product and services, read and creates product reviews, seeks support to connect like-minded people. So all these things, newest customer के लिए digitalization is a very critical thing. But can we manage the digitalization as per his motivation and expectation? Is a $100 billion question. Last one slide. You see the social listening, digitalization given a lot of opportunities. When Maggie was banned, the social listening mein, how powerful is the brand? We have done a study and we have seen Mother's Day song, Shankar Madhavan, maximum people recalled Maggie. They tell that Maggie should come back. Okay, there are a lot of things. So digitalization has also customer feedback, how can you take faster? And this is the overall, whatever the apps I have done, positive, neutral and negative, travel, ICTs, bank apps, DigiLocker, you'll see maximum people are happy with private learning apps, but most crucial digital apps like you see here, ICT only 38% people are happy. DigiLocker only 39%. Sentiment polarity. This is positive neutral issue. So this is very bad. So finally, we are telling people to machine from physical to virtual, virtual to digital. That means virtual to full virtual to the physical and digital, both. From process to experience. So experience is a very critical thing. Several times people tell there is a back-end problem. That's why you could not deliver. But that is not the customer's concern, is good experience. From operation to improvement, that is a very critical. Several people tell we do operations in digitalization, term use kare. But what improvement that operation made because a person transforms to physical to digital. That incremental value you have created through digitalization, that makes a lot of sense. It is not that exactly you are doing some operation and process. From static design to dynamic optimization, that is a very critical thing. We have to do optimization in such a way that there is some problem, automatically that will be taken care of. From transaction to relationship is a very critical thing. It is not that you will put a machine and start doing some transaction, but that machine should create long-term relationship with the customers, their system. From sales result to customer outcomes, very critical things. How customer, suppose for example now Blinkit, the age of Blinkit, within 5 to 7 minutes, that is coming to the doorstep. That is really giving a value-added experience. From product and services to experiences, very critical thing. Mass production to personalization, cost reduction to revenue generation, and from data to actionable insights. Several people, they say user-generated review, I have called these doctors, hospitals, have done a roundtable discussion. I have told this is the result. So what you are doing, they have told we have no data. I have told all the data are available in your user-generated review. But you could not deliver, you could not derive the actionable insight. And that insights you are generating, if you are really understand that what are the major problems, they say, I have done user-generated review, I have identified what are the major issues, how many people are talking about that issue, and what are the how companies concerned about this thing. From product service to solutions, this is a very critical thing. Customer solution, from standalone to social. So with this, I would like to because I know the time is short, but this is a most critical thing, because we are doing at the time of human-computer interface, the established to emerging, rigor to relevance. Most of the time we are in the technological rigor. We never understand how much that is relevant to the consumers. Technical to behavior. What is the behavioral aspects? Oh, they say I was talking about most of the motivations, attitude, consumers' feeling. These are very critical in the time of crisis and digital adoption and uses of digitalization. With this, I would like to conclude my talk. If there is any question, you please ask. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're very much audible,
Yes, sir.
You're very much
Yeah,
audible.
yeah. If there is any other question, you just come back.
Okay, sir.
Any question?
Yes, sir, we have Professor Bhatia.
Yeah.
Very insightful analysis. What, based on your analysis, see, for critical requirements, the app is not so efficient as it is for other activities. How do you see these to be shaping up in future? Whether based on consumer behavior reports, the concerned organizations will be improving it, or you see that it will go on as it is without much headway into it?
So you have asked a very pertinent and important question. So what I'm telling that being an academician, I'm a professor. Suppose although I am not teaching digital marketing, basically I concentrate on marketing research, and मेरे पास भी इतना time नहीं है पढ़ाने के लिए. But those who are teaching digital marketing course now in different organizations, institutions, when we are telling that digital marketing is very critical, theoretical perspective, man, we see that a lot of good examples we are giving. And we are telling, mostly discussing about the processes. But are we discussing about the experiences? Are we discussing that what are the drawbacks? Are we discussing what are the barriers? So these issues somehow in curriculum is not there. So the students, they have always seen that digital ho gaya, itna, very, very good cases, fancy cases, that ye company digitalization karke itna profit ho gaya. Ye isse kiya, but these are success stories. But every success stories, they incorporate and accommodate these issues. Any digital platform will not be good unless only they give a good experience. So these things, sometimes this is missing. In the curriculum teaching and everything, we are not incorporating these interesting cases, which are negative things, which have very customers' negative experience and everything because of that, what happened. We have a responsibility as a researcher. I'm in a premier institute. How can I contribute? A lot of academic industry collaboration is required. Unfortunately, in the emerging, I have tried. I have established a center in IIM Lucknow. I have done big conferences, but several times it is not possible. Institutions have their own understanding. They also do not fully support. But I understand that if industry academia collaboration and institutions focus more on how real world what is happening, these connections, and academic students will join together and do research about these issues. And then I think a lot of, just for example, I'm told hospital. I've done on my own. No hospital has approached me to do user-generated review. I was Isodal chair professor. I could have written a lot of theoretical things, but I always believe in doing practical things, because or else I can't speak to anybody. I'll just tell something, they will tell something, and kuch nahi hota. So I have done these things. When I have explained them, so they think that I'm telling something because I want to harass them, or I am ridiculing them, criticizing them. But if they would have collaborated with me and we could have done this study, they will have also understand that they have invested so much money, digital transformation and everything. But this is the reality. Customers are not getting experiences. So they could have taken immediate action. And most of the time, another thing, I'm just giving a very important input, because in industry, how marketing research is practiced. Most of the time, when you are giving to research agencies, they do research, they always tell the rosy pictures. They tell this is very good, itna log satisfied ho gaya, bahut acha ho gaya. They are afraid of telling these negative things. मैं कोई भी study करता हूँ, ministry के साथ किया, बहुत time में किया, मैं always tell them negative things first. So they tell, sir, you are criticizing. This is the most important thing. You are giving him a study. You are giving some insights that will improve your process and everything. That is more important. You should take that also very sportively and implement. Yeah.
Very correct. See, I also come from corporates, and I do feel that there has to be a great close liaison between corporate and research institutes. But the main point is that the commercial considerations also come into play. That is, due to commercial considerations, the correct picture, including the negative points, do not come to the corporates. So we need to find an answer to it.
Professor Dash, thank you for the occasion today and enlightening us with wonderful studies that you've done. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I would request Dr. Charu to proceed ahead now. I believe we are coming to the close of the plenary session. May I request everybody to come online on camera so we can take a photograph as a memory of today's session. If everyone could just come online on camera, that will be, we'll be grateful. Thank you. Thank you all. Dr. Charu, please proceed. Doctor. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We were fortunate to hear diverse opinion from thought leaders in the area of people management and technology management at plenary session of ICAMT 2023. The learnings about creating and managing sustainable businesses will be the success mantra of organizations in the future. On behalf of JP Business School, Noida and ICAMT 2023 team, I would like to thank our distinguished guests for being an integral part of our international conference, ICAMT 2023. Heartfelt thanks are in order for the time and efforts you took to share your thoughts and experiences with our participants. I would also like to thank all the participants, my faculty colleagues, research scholars, and students for joining the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It is really an
Thank you
honor
so much,
to
sir.
have you on our platform.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for an insightful session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Our track presentations will begin at 2 o'clock. If there are any participants on this call, please do join on time. We will begin sharply at 2. The Google Meet links have been shared. Thank you all for participating today. Thank you.
Students who are here from BBA final year, they can also join as per their specialization. Your faculty will inform you which track you have to join.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.